Samuel's here with us. Give us your thoughts, mate.
It was crap. I already knew this from last week. We're not gonna go through. What else was there more to say? I think this team has just hit its kind of like level. I don't think we can do any more than this. It's sad to see. And to be fair, I hear the whole Klopp. Maybe it is the right time to leave. I hear it, but I would always say this: Klopp leaving, we get a manager in. Just expect Liverpool to not compete for the league for about 3 years. It is what it is. It is what it is. I just don't trust these owners. I don't trust the manager pool that we have right now. Especially as Javi Alonso said that he's staying at Bayern Leverkusen. So any other manager that's coming in, strap yourself in. We ain't competing for no league. We're going to be competing for top 4. It is what it is. But yeah, it is coming out with a whimper. Only a League Cup, which is very disappointing. But, you know, there's nothing really much to say, to be fair. I just feel like a lot of these players... I think some of these players are not good enough. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of these players are not good enough at all. And I feel like Klopp, again, it looks like when G kind of said it, like when we're asking him to coach, he's not doing that. He's not doing it. And it's kind of like, I'm looking at him thinking, come on now. You did say you're leaving. Have some extra bit of motivation for these last few games. But you're not even doing that. So I don't hear any fans saying we're getting that Klopp and stuff like that, because it is what it is. The writing's on the wall. Like, you're seeing what we've been playing for the past few games. And if you're happy with that, then that's fine with you. But I'm not happy with it. That's all I want to say.
Listen, I don't know about not challenging next year. I think I get where you're coming from. You never know.
No, I'm actually being, and I've been saying this for quite some time. I don't think we will challenge for the next 3 years. Literally, I don't think we'll challenge.
I mean, I hope you're right. Like I do as a United fan, but I don't know. I mean, and when I say I don't know, let's wait and see who you get. I mean, if you'd have said to Bayer Leverkusen fans when Alonso took over when they were in a relegation zone, you would be on for an invincible treble next season, they'd have probably put you into a psych ward for a few weeks. That would be so. Anything can happen from this point. I actually still think you've got some really good players, and you'll buy some. I almost feel as though if you look at a few things, when they announced Pep coming into City halfway through the City's season kind of fell off. When Fergie announced he was retiring the first time round, almost at the beginning of the season, we had an awful year. When he announced he was leaving this time round, we were already so far clear in the league that it was kind of okay. Wow. Sometimes that plays a little bit of a part in a team. There can be an uplift for a while, but after that, maybe players are thinking, well, what about my future? So I'm thinking maybe I want to leave. When the sort of, I don't want to use the word novelty, but when the sort of euphoria around that announcement goes away, and I remember a few Liverpool fans coming on the show when he announced it, saying that they hate that it's been announced now because you could take away from the team later. So I get you guys are feeling all types of pain, and you're entitled to your opinions on your club more than me. I'm actually just trying to be nice, if I'm being honest.
There was something that Samuel said there, about like some of these players not even like potentially not being good enough. And I ain't trying to get into semantics of what players or whatever. I don't really care. But it goes back to the thing that I mentioned about when you're winning, the players are good. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, Samuel said that. I'm saying, like, in terms of, we see it on social media all the time in terms of how people talk about players and stuff like that. When we're winning games, winning 2-1, 3-1, getting through the Carabao Cup, playing the kids, as everyone likes to throw around and stuff like that. Best academy in England. Got some of the best depth that you've seen. As soon as you start losing games, all of a sudden, yeah, them guys, they're not even really that good, you know? Yeah, maybe he's not as good and this, that, and the third. And I think when I see like things like that, that's what probably more annoys me, because the reality is, were they ever as good as you actually ever thought in the first place is the first question. Because if you're in this position now where you're already saying whatever you're saying, whatever some people are saying about certain players, that's when you're like, Were they ever like really, at that point? But I get it because as fans, you hype up your players and etc. etc. But again, it's not even about this. Ain't like about Klopp. This ain't look. We lost. Do you know what I mean? We deserve to go out, and they outclassed us tactically over the two games kind of thing. But yeah, I just think that sometimes when I listen to some fans and the way that they kind of speak about certain things, you go too far either way. You're either way too like over exuberant about whatever it is, or you're way too negative about the situation instead of just assessing the situation at hand and then obviously trying to make some type of
winning football matches will always do that, and I agree, because when United have struggled over the last 10 years, there's been different squad players that we've attacked. It could be Jesse Lingard, it could be Scott McTominay. We've always had players of that level at United, even when we were successful. But because we were winning, we didn't focus on David May not being good enough for the club. We didn't focus on Jasper Blomqvist not being good enough for the club, or Darren Gibson per se. They were part of the squad. It didn't matter. Jack Grealish, I always look at him. City fans defend him all the time. Pep leaves in the summer and they stop winning and they start challenging for top four and going out of cups early, and he keeps performing like he is, he'll be the first individual they turn on. Because I saw Liverpool fans do that with Firmino. When you guys were top of the league, winning the Prem, winning the Champions League, and rivals are saying, it's got to score more, though. And what is it you guys coined the phrase of? Not you four specifically, but he's a defensive striker. And all that stuff. As soon as you guys weren't challenging, first player Liverpool fans went for Firmino. We need more goals, etc., etc. So I think you're right, G. I think that sometimes the players are good. I mean, Samuel's someone that's, I think he's been quite consistent on it, as I know you didn't call him out. But no, I totally get where you're coming from.
I was going to say real quick.
Of course.
I had a conversation with one of my boys, and I always said this: Klopp is a dream seller. Klopp is a dream seller, and this is actually props to Klopp a little bit, but you realize that some of the players most of the players that Klopp gets, they're at a level where they're all right, but Klopp gives them the extra oomph in the system to go on. And this is where I do agree with you. This is where sometimes where Liverpool fans do overrate the players. And I'm not going to call out names because that's a different conversation. But it's kind of like when it hits crunch time, when you need them to do something or pull something out the back, you're looking at them thinking, hold on, what did we really expect for the player that we bought from so-and-so, this, that, and that? It was really Klopp actually getting the most out of them in that situation at that time where we were going on winning runs and stuff like that when we were winning. And I always say this, like, Klopp is a dream seller. He will get something out of them that really and truly, if this was anywhere else, they wouldn't really be performing like this. But yeah.
No, listen, I think that's very, very, I think that's true. You think Hazard is better than Salah? Don't know why that's relevant on here, but fair enough. Some people do, some people don't. No matter what happens with Liverpool season, Klopp has been one of the greatest Premier League managers of all time. Respect him for what he has done. I mean, it depends on how far up the list you want to go. I mean, if he's in the top 10, definitely. He's probably in the top 5, definitely. But yeah, again, but Liverpool, that's not for Liverpool. Liverpool fans, this is going to sound harsh, but Liverpool fans have to kind of move on from that in the sense of they can't just go, well, we're not going to criticize the problems at our club because he's a legend, because Liverpool Football Club will still be ongoing in 50, 60, 70 years' time. Klopp will be remembered, but Liverpool Football Club is more important than Klopp. It's as simple as that. It's a little different with certain figures at clubs, and I'm not going to speak about yours. For instance, when Fergie left, it was a quarter of a century. It was all I'd known my whole life as an example. I think it feels a little different, but still, you need the club to move on and go to the next level. Terry
Klopp will always he'll be fondly remembered, certainly by Liverpool fans, by Premier League fans as well to some extent, because he's been a big part of the Premier League over the last 9 years basically. Or 8 years or whatever it is. Yeah, pretty much. Both for the way that look, Liverpool is one of the biggest teams in the Premier League, so naturally that puts a bigger spotlight on you. The way we play football is different than we played previously, and his personality. Look, let's not beat about those. People will say maybe he's more personality than he is tactics, and that may be a fair comparison. but he has been one of the big characters in the Premier League over that period of time. And people will say, other people, his detractors will say, so what? What's he won? But as far as Liverpool fans are concerned, he'll always have a special place in our heart. And, we'll go with our best wishes. But the club will be here forever. The club is going to be here long before all of us are gone. So that's
very true. Terry, asked him if you think Klopp got it wrong by saying he was leaving too early in the season.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. You like that question can't even be answered because you don't know.
Because we don't know because
no one said he said this to it. We were like, oh, this is probably galvanized. This is what I said about being reactionary or being in the moment. It's like he said he was leaving. Everyone was like, yeah, we're going to use this. I think we won our next game because of the FA Cup game, I believe, straight after that.
I think it was Chelsea.
Against Chelsea. Then we ended up winning games. Like I said, no one cared at the time. Now we're losing games and playing rubbish. All of a sudden, maybe he said it too early. So that question.
Yeah.
It's also the case of if he say, for instance, hindsight or hypothetically, if he said we're leaving in March, we might have not been in a title race. We might have lost a couple of games in January. Might have dropped a load of points. Might have been out of the FA Cup. We don't know. It works both ways.
I don't say that. People, if he said it in March, people would say, "Oh, is that why we were losing in December, January time?"
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's
you don't win.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, you can be damned if you do and damned if you don't. Sometimes that's typically how these things work. So I'll just put in the Marseille Benfica game on because that's getting penalties, and I want to watch it. I want to watch it. But no, I hear you. A super chat here. Terry is having the best time feasting on rival tears for 6 consecutive days. Has to be content. It isn't right. People don't. I'm always a long game player. Yeah, you can have really good days where you get lots of numbers and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, great content creating. But now there's no European nights for the English teams that I cover. So that's my European season over. So from a content creating point of view, it's literally a month of content that's now disappeared. Like I can't do content.
So what you're saying, Terry's going to be here later.
So we're out of Europe and you're out of Europe.
The Terrace is out of Europe. We'll obviously cover the semi-finals and stuff anyway. I mean, sometimes it's better though, because I remember a few seasons back when the English teams went out early. I think it was actually the game where Bayern Munich beat Barcelona like 6 or 7-1 or whatever it was. But it was amazing to cover it because everybody came on and just had fun and spoke football rather than being tribal. But yeah, listen, I enjoy it as a rival, but I like match reactions. They're my favorite show on the Terrace. And if there's no matches for the top 6 teams, then it's crappy. But yeah, that's why when you guys went one up early, I was sort of like, oh, I'm up for you guys winning it because it means more games this season. And I like the story. But as a Man United fan, not the owner of the Football Terrace, I'm like, yeah.